I started golf very early, probably around age 10. I began caddying soon after that, caddied at Evanston Golf Club, and I just fell in love with the game. At my best, I was a runner-up in the Illinois State Senior Amateur. I qualified twice. I was medalist twice for Illinois, going to the USGA Senior Amateur, and but more than anything, I just enjoy being out. I love playing. I love being with all the friends that I've made at the CDGA. I have tons of friends. We probably have a group of 30, 40 guys that really enjoy being with one another, and we just have a blast competing against one another. Golf became really difficult. At one point, it got so bad I really couldn't really play. I was having trouble even standing up for more than 10 minutes. I was having trouble even walking a block or two at times when it was really bad.
So what Ted had was really advanced degeneration at his bottom lumbar disc, L5-S1. So what had happened over time, the disc, which is normally the cushion there, had completely worn out, and he essentially had bone rubbing with bone. And as you can imagine, that obviously causes a lot of low back pain. Also, what we see as the disc collapses, the tunnels around the nerve get narrow, and people will get a lot of nerve pain going down the legs.
One day my daughter came over and she wanted to go to a restaurant that was about 3 blocks away, and we began walking, and I went about a block, and I just bent over and I told her I couldn't walk anymore. And at that point I decided that I wanted to get the surgery. A lot of people really discouraged me from getting this surgery, so there was a fear factor.
Obviously, a fusion surgery is a big deal, and patients are appropriately so afraid of the idea. Ted had really reached the point where he couldn't function, and he certainly couldn't play golf. And even though we talked about technically we are fusing the level together, usually by fusing that one level, as was the case with Ted, you really don't lose a lot of motion. And often patients actually move better after the surgery because it's not as painful. And that was a lot of the discussion with Ted, like how would it affect his range of motion? Would he be able to have a normal swing after golf? The downsides of a fusion. So we talked a lot about that because obviously it's a big decision for anyone, and especially somebody who's serious about golf. But at the end of the day, it's sort of a quality of life decision. Ted was at the point where he couldn't play anyway, he couldn't function. So, he was willing to go through the fusion with the idea that at least it would improve or give him a chance of getting back to normal.
I said once I hit a certain point and I wasn't able to do much of anything, it became apparent that this was my option.
Ted did great. I mean, immediately after surgery, he noticed his familiar back and leg pain was resolved. Like literally, he left the hospital the day after surgery. And the next morning when I came around to see him, he already reported he had surgical pain, but not that familiar everyday back pain he'd had for all these years.
Afterwards, the pain issue was gone, and now it was just a matter of basically rebuilding up my body and being able to be strong enough to withstand some of the things that I wanted to do.
It's a rehabilitation process. We didn't let him get back to golf, within the first 4 to 6 months, and we had him see a therapist we work with who's golf specific, who gradually increased his activities, his range of motion, and ultimately simulated a lot of golf activities during therapy before we let him play on the course.
It was at least probably around 6 months of pretty extensive PT work, and then I started being able to start hitting some shots and doing some things, and slowly but surely got back to playing. I would say maybe 8 to 9 months where I was actually playing again, playing full rounds of golf. And now I am back to feeling like I have a chance to swing and walk. I never could have walked the course. I've walked the course about 20 times this year. I feel every year that goes by since the surgery I'm getting stronger. And so I'm hoping that trend continues.